Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're back here with Film Theory, and today, well, time to head back to the tent for another episode, or another theory on the Amazing Digital Circus! Sorry, can't help it. Anyway, so this one's called Pomni Wants to Delete Humanity. So, now they're saying that Pomni's the AI. Which, I don't know. Could be, but, well, we're about to see the evidence. So, shall we? Again, we're only 2 episodes in, so I'll be surprised where this goes. So be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's check it out.
Is Pomni from the Amazing Digital Circus an AI imposter? When you look at the real-life science and technology behind artificial intelligence, it lines up shockingly well with what we see in the show. So get ready to abstract, friends. You'll never look at the Amazing Digital Circus the same way after this.
Shall we?
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, where the only thing keeping us from going insane and abstracting is that subscribe button. So, the last time we talked about the gargantuanly viral YouTube mega hit, The Amazing Digital Circus, we theorized that one of the human castmates was actually an AI, hidden in their ranks. And there was a lot of evidence pointing towards this being the case. For example, Kane made a point to really hammer home just how advanced the AI in the circus was.
Oh, yeah,
I'm testing out a new AI in this one. It should be 57 times more immersive.
And he seemed really worried about losing track of who was who and what is what.
I know you guys love your NPCs, but if I start losing track of who's a human and who's an NPC, who knows what could happen?
That is the face of a man who knows exactly what would happen and has probably made that mistake before. Plus, the show goes out of its way to make us see that there isn't that big of a difference between the so-called human characters and others that we know are definitely NPCs, like this interaction between Pomni and Gummy Goo.
But I'm not even a real person. Would I even belong?
I'm sure you wouldn't belong any less than me.
All of that is setting up that one of our lovable characters here isn't exactly who they say they are. Last time we went over all of the signs pointing towards this imposter being the dominant and disagreeable Jax. But as I was doing research for that theory, I found a lot of evidence pointing towards another candidate. Our audience surrogate and fish out of water, Pomni. Yeah, after looking at the science behind AI, how they really work in the real world, I saw a lot of red flags that aligned with Pomni. Is that the direction that the Amazing Digital Circus is headed in? Maybe, maybe not. But the science and technology lines up too well not to talk about it, to bring up the possibility. Because hey, that's the joy of theorizing, right? So, that's right, friends. If we look at how AI works in the real world, it becomes clear that there might be just more to Pomni than meets the eye, and she might be the latest iteration of an AI meant to replace humanity. Grab your bottles of syrup, chat, as we prepare to clip out of bounds and into the void of the Amazing Digital Circus. Now, before we start...
So, honestly, I think I could buy it, but again, it really depends on, like, what type of AI we're dealing with here. It could be, like, a regular AI that's, like, you know, based on logic, or a learning AI, like the Terminator, you know? I mean, there are different types, so it really depends on, like, you know, what the AI we're dealing with here. But again, we're only 2 episodes deep, so I don't know what type of AI Kane's really talking about, or even what type of AI we're dealing with here. I mean, to be fair, I don't know if, like, regular AI could actually go that one. I mean, it's artificial intelligence, so long as, like, doesn't get too smart, we'll be fine. But again, they could have made one that could try to replace humanity, but who knows? I mean, there is such this thing as an uncanny valley, you know? Whether they cross it or not, it's up to the show creator, aka Glitch, so who knows? Anywho, so let's see the evidence.
Accusing anyone else in the circus of being an AI, let's clarify exactly what that means. Like, sure, in fiction, artificial intelligence is a sort of catch-all for any sort of robot or program with a brain. But there's actually a lot that falls under that umbrella in the real world. From ChatGPT, to video game enemies, to computers playing chess, or whatever the heck meta AI is supposed to be. This is wildly simplified, but at the most basic level, an AI is just a computer program that wants to learn how to complete a specific task. For example, let's say we wanted to make an AI that could look at images of Pomni and classify whether she was smiling or horrified. For you and me, that would be a pretty simple but tedious job. We can just look at each picture and use our complex, fleshy human brains to put them into the appropriate category. But how do you teach a computer, whose brain is a bunch of programmable ones and zeros, to do the same task? And on top of that, how do you even teach it what a smile or horror is? Or even who Pomni is, for that matter. Short answer,
True.
it's a lot of math. Long answer, well, you could spend a whole college degree trying to figure that out, but simplified long answer?
okay.
AI programs are what are known as neural networks. Think of them as kind of a mechanical version of our own brain. On one side of this machine, we feed it our image of Pomni. Inside this machine, there's a giant web of wires and numbers that take the information from that Pomni pic and analyze it. Then, on the other end, the machine spits out an answer like, "This Pomni is horrified." But here's the thing. When it's first created, the wires in this machine are just sort of haphazardly
Yeah,
stuffed
all
into
over
the
the
box.
place.
So the machine doesn't really know if it's doing a good job of identifying the image. It can't really separate the smiling from the sus, but it can learn. As a human, we step in to let it know how right or wrong it was in that identification. At this point, the AI goes in and changes up the wires ever so slightly to try again, before giving out new results and then being told whether it was right or wrong again. It does this
Basically,
over
after
and
learning.
over and over until eventually it's pretty good at the job it's been trained to do. The wires inside the machine are nice and tidy and leading to all of the right places. This is actually how generative AI works. I'm sure you've seen a bunch of conversation around these sorts of AI recently with chatbots like ChatGPT and AI programs like Midjourney and DALL-E. Their goal is to create an image based on a prompt it's been given. Like, say, image of a low-poly video game of a female red and blue jester from the Amazing Digital Circus looking distressed standing on a tightrope between two skyscrapers. And it's trained by looking at millions of images and bodies of text, finding patterns, and then regurgitating them back into something that some people might call art. And this stuff is getting really good, like frighteningly good. Case in point, we have two artists basically working full-time here at Theorist to make our thumbnails from scratch, drawing new art or manipulating other assets, all by hand. They crush it every week, and people still wonder with basically every video whether or not we use AI to generate our thumbnails, all because these programs have gotten that good at emulating this sort of art. Also, just to be clear, we don't use AI for our thumbnails and don't plan to. Regardless, now that we know all of
Oh yeah, there actually was like a bunch of like people saying, "Oh, this art isn't real because it was made by AI." Like, I mean, I get it, but still, they usually have like, okay, this was made by AI here or something. But I guess people just don't look at it enough to realize, yep, made by AI. Okay. I mean, that's how I see it, but to each their own. Moving along.
of this about AI, we can also figure
I don't
out
know
that
much
this
about
is
it,
how
so
the
I'm gonna keep my
NPC characters
trap
in the
shot,
digital
you know?
circus work. For example, let's look at one of the characters that we know is an AI, Kane. Compare what we just described to what Kane has done in this series. He creates levels and creatures that seem like weird mishmashes of ideas, like medieval kingdoms with candy and Mad Max war rigs and Australian crocodile Dundees. He reuses characters and ideas from before, which we find out after he pops gummy goo.
I know Kane sometimes likes to reuse NPCs.
All of which is just like a generative AI would reuse images and assets that it's been trained on. But the biggest connection of all, Kane can't actually create anything himself, since we know he couldn't think of anything to put behind the exit door.
I was having so much trouble figuring out what to put on the other side and ended up never quite finishing it.
And even with this office space, he couldn't imagine something new. We see at the end of episode 1 that this office space is actually real. Kane must have based these rooms off of it instead of creating them whole cloth. Everything he does has to be recycled from other knowledge, just like we see with these generative AI. And all of this is important because it tells us that these NPC characters aren't just inspired by
creative, they're
real-world
just
AI, they
reusing
work
assets.
the same way too. So why is this important for us today, and why is it relevant to Pomni? Well, as I explained above, generative AI isn't the only sort of AI that works this way. Pretty much all of the AI that we have now does, including chatbots and assistants like Siri and Alexa. Sorry for all the phones that I just triggered there. And see, this is also the way that iterative AI works. An iterative AI is exactly what it sounds like. Every new version of it improves over the last, iterating on what worked and what didn't. A good example of these are those computer programs you see that take a 3D character and learn how to walk with them, so to speak. But another good example, tool-assisted speedrunning. Yeah, as in trying to beat a video game as quickly as possible, but doing it with a computer. This video from YouTuber Kush Gupta goes into far more detail, but the long and short of it, the computer wants to get Mario from A to B as quickly and efficiently as possible. It will try a bunch of random actions to see what works, and will inevitably get Mario killed. Using that information, it will then be slightly reprogrammed to try again. And and fail again, and again, and again, over and over, tweaking its instructions until it's finally found the most optimized route to beat Super Mario. Almost like it's using the memories of its previous lives to get better each new go-around. And do you know who that sounds an awful lot like? Pomni. Pomni is the latest generation of an iterative AI. Now, that might seem like a stretch, especially since all the marketing material has said that Pomni is a human woman sucked into the computer. But remember this?
I'm testing out a new AI in this one. It should be 57 times more immersive. I know you guys love your NPCs, but if I start losing track of who's a human and who's an NPC, who knows what could happen?
The AI that's in the digital circus is now super sophisticated, and Kane has already most likely lost track of who's a human and who isn't before. Plus, it's very suspicious that this interaction—
But I'm not even a real person. Would I even belong?
I'm sure you wouldn't belong any less than me.
happens between an AI and specifically Pomni. They're drawing attention to the fact that Pomni is no different than NPCs like Gummy Goo. And later in that same conversation, Gummy Goo even says,
"You're a strange little character."
He calls her a character, a very interesting choice of words as opposed to something like person who is trapped here. But if you don't want to feel trapped in—
I mean, to be fair, I remember Kane, or in this case, Gummy Goo, sorry, only realized that he was a character in a game. So, in a way, he still hasn't broken free of being like, oh, you're a real person, I guess. So I don't think he would even know what's real, what's a person, who's NPC, that kind of deal. But remember, Kane specifically called Pomni a human. Now, it could mean that she actually is a human, or the AI that she is so, like, realistic. Even Kane's like, okay, are you an AI? Well, might as well just go for human, just be safe side. I feel like that's what happened, but who knows? I mean, we don't have any, like, you know, ideas on, like, if there were previous Pomnis beforehand. Remember, it's a new one, so we don't know if that actually is a human. Though, begs the question, does a new person just show up whenever, like, someone dies? Or at least becomes abstracted? Like, remember, Pomni showed up the same day the rest of the crew realized, hey, Kaufmo got abstracted, right? I don't know. There's usually, like, more, maybe there's more to it. I don't know if they're, like, if one, like, passes away, another one joins in, right? I mean, if they show a new character showing up, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know. It just seems kind of weird, you know? Anyway.
In the circus, like all of our lovable castmates here in the Amazing Digital Circus, you need to check out the sponsor for today's episode, NordVPN. If you aren't already using a VPN like Nord, you really need to reconsider. A VPN will basically reroute your internet connection through their own server, giving you more privacy and security. Yeah, your internet service provider can see everything you do on the internet, even if you're in incognito mode. But with a VPN like Nord, your private business can stay your private business. But even better, you can more or less trick your internet connection into thinking it's coming from somewhere else. This means that you can tell your connection that you're in an entirely different state or country than you're actually in. That is awesome, especially if you live in a state or country that has decided to put restrictions on or censor certain websites. And it also means that you can get access to different libraries of content from around the world. It's kind of like giving yourself admin access to all of the circus's rooms, like Jack's. For example, a big chunk of Hulu's content is actually available on Disney Plus at no additional cost in Canada. So just hop on one of NordVPN's servers up in Toronto and bam, you can watch Shogun or catch up on Planet of the Apes. No lie, I've actually used that feature a lot. If you want to check out what Nord has to offer, you can get a 2-year plan with a huge discount, plus 4 additional months for free when you use our link nordvpn.com/filmtheory. But that's not all. You'll also get 20 gigabytes of a Saley eSIM card just in time for summer travel. That's basically a digital SIM card and a perfect solution for phone data while you travel. Again, that's nordvpn.com/FILMTHEORY, or just click the link in the description below because nobody types all that stuff out for a discounted 2-year plan plus 4 months for free. Thanks again to NordVPN, and let's head back to the AI of the Amazing Digital Circus. But why do I think that Pomni's an iterative AI specifically? Well, the first thing that tipped me off was actually another clip from episode 2. Listen here to what Ragatha says about Pomni here in her nightmare.
Well,
I guess we're not all cut out for it.
Not cut out
all.
for it? This wording jumped out to Matt and me when we were first reacting to
That's
this
a lot.
episode over on GT Live. And sure, it might mean that they're just talking about Pomni as a human surviving in the circus. But if we look at it through the lens of Pomni as an
I don't know,
AI,
could be a
it
nightmare.
sounds an awful lot like Pomni's dream here is telling her subconsciously that her iteration isn't ready. But that's just one clip. There's a whole lot more
True,
going on
true.
here too.
It's
Think
got
about
more,
it.
right?
When Pomni first arrives in the digital circus, she has to have everything explained to her. Her name, the rules, the adventures, the void, all of it. By the end of the first episode, she was not adjusting to this new environment well. And yet, by episode 2, which takes place just the following morning, Pomni suddenly has a much better grasp of her situation and is able to offer meta critique of the world.
Our entire existence here is just LARPing. What time period is this supposed to be again?
It's almost like after going to sleep, she was able to rewire a little bit, just like an AI. Additionally, there are multiple points in episode 2 where Pomni has gained a lot of knowledge about the mechanics of this world.
Where are we?
I don't know. We're somewhere under the map, I think.
Why aren't you or any of your crew up here?
I'm not sure, because we're not, NPCs?
What do you have in mind in terms of getting us out of here?
I don't know. Maybe some kind of glitch with the truck's collisions?
She understands exactly how this world works, down to collisions and glitches and why certain characters are different than others. And yet, most interestingly, she insists that she doesn't really get it.
You're the expert here.
I'm really not.
Uh-huh. Sure, you're
Sure.
not Pomni. Notice the gap
Sure.
between what Pomni
Let's see
thinks
what happens
she
to
knows
3.
and what she actually knows. It's almost like she's trained on all of this before, like an AI learning what's right and what's wrong, even if they don't quite understand how or why. What's more, we can even figure out exactly who Pomni's previous iteration was. It was Kaufmo, the clown. Hear me out. What
Oh, yeah,
exactly
similar
did Pomni
theme.
do? The first thing she did when she arrived at the digital circus,
Trying to
before
leave?
trying to take her headset off or talk to any of the others or whatever, the very first thing she
yeah,
did was
try to go
try
for the
to
exit.
head for the exit before she even realized that she was trapped. Isn't it odd that before she had time
Yeah,
to
she
think,
was like,
to
"See ya."
realize that she couldn't take her headset off or anything, that she almost subconsciously headed for the exit? Well, it wouldn't be strange if she was programmed to head for the exit, just like she was trained to in an earlier life. Oh, and who do we know that was also obsessed with the exit?
I think Kaufmo's gone insane. Last time I spoke with him, he was rambling endlessly about some exit. Kind of like you, Pomni.
This series has deliberately drawn a line between Kaufmo and Pomni. In a thematic sense, yes, but it also lines up shockingly well with this AI research too. I mean, for real, you're telling me that Kaufmo started rambling about an exit, and then as soon as he abstracted, like the second he failed, so
Yeah,
to
same
speak,
day.
a new character just so happened to show up that was also obsessed with the exit? That's either one heck of a coincidence, or just like an AI giving the wrong results, Kaufmo had run his course. He had to be scrapped and a new iteration needed to be put in the game. Pomni retaining some of his memories before trying again. And that's even
Actually, that does beg the question, though. Like, I think I remember back in, like, when MatPat was covering this, they said all of them were AI, right? Or at least a digital copy of the original, right? So maybe when one version of them dies, a new version comes out, right? I don't know. It seems like that's what's going on here. Like, again, like I said, when Cosmo, like, abstracted, like, literally same day, Pomni shows up, right? So maybe they're all iterative AI and just trying, like, figure out an escape plan. You know, like a rat in the maze, you know? Actually goes back to real life. There actually is a competition where AI actually have to learn a maze to get out. It's a part of a competition. Like, basically, the fastest, like, bot wins, and basically I think they're trying to speedrun getting out of the circus, with Kane trying to, like, offer obstacles for it, you know, to be an ever-evolving AI? I don't know, but hard to say, but, I mean, again, we don't know if everyone is an AI or not. I mean, like MatPat said, it could be, or maybe it's because it depends on the origins? I don't know, like I said, I'm just throwing it out there, but I do remember MatPat saying that, so again, we don't know if they actually are humans, because remember, we only see, like, the desktop, so we don't know where the human bodies are, so again, could be just digital copies trying to, like, live their own life. Well, let's just keep moving.
without
gotta
bringing
run
up
to
the
it.
physical similarities between the two characters. And yes, before you bring up anything, yeah, I know that clowns and jesters are not technically the same thing. One entertains nobles at court, and the other is a sleep paralysis demon. But the two are often seen as the same thing in the modern day, and the show has made jokes about Pomni being a clown.
It's not like the boss to vanish with a clown. Very unusual.
The show is drawing that parallel for us, but hey, this isn't just limited to two characters. I mean, it's not like there's a whole lineage of these clown-like characters we can trace back like we're going through a bunch of iterations of AI, right? Well, if you pay close attention to the crossed-out faces on the bedroom doors, you'll notice that there are a lot of clowns, jesters, or clown-jester hybrids. Sure, maybe it makes sense, like clowns and jesters in a circus-themed game, but then why are none of the other main human characters circus-themed as well? Why are we getting a purple rabbit, or a chess piece, or Raggedy Ann instead? No, this cycle has happened before, over and over and over. Pomni is the latest iteration of this program, learning and becoming smarter, learning to become more human. So, okay, if all of this is true, if we look at how real AI maps onto this fictional world, it looks like Pomni is an AI being trained up to escape and then do something. But why does any of that matter? Sure, it would be a fun twist, but why would it be significant for the story? Well, for one simple reason. If an AI like Pomni continues to get better and better, it can start doing some crazy things. Now, this is super duper simplified, but all AI can be broken down into one of three groups: weak, strong, and super. The first type is known as weak AI, and while weak AI sounds, well, weak, it's actually the only sort of AI that we currently have in the real world. Yeah, all of the controversy around artificial intelligence you've seen recently with like generative AI and what we just talked about with iterative AI, that's just the beginning, and it's quote-unquote weak. Now, it's considered weak for two big reasons. One, it can't do much beyond what it's been trained on, and two, it requires a human to give it feedback so it can improve. That is what sets it apart from our second type of AI here, strong AI. This is an AI that has been similarly trained on just one subject, but doesn't need a human to give it feedback. It can improve all on its own. As of right now, it's difficult to say which of these Pomni is. We just haven't seen enough or have enough information to really say whether or not she's getting any human intervention between her iterations, or if her programming is doing those corrections all on its own. Basically, she could be either one of them. But the end goal here is the same either way. It's clearly to turn her into a super AI. Now, a super AI is probably what you imagine when you think of all the AI you've seen in fiction. You know, stuff like Terminator, or iRobot, or Bender from Futurama, or whatever. These are true, independent, general artificial intelligences. Their neural networks are able to act a lot like a human brain, finding interests and training itself up in those interests all on its own, outside what it's programmed to do. Basically, they've been iterated on enough times that they just don't need humans anymore. It doesn't need to follow instructions. It's escaped the shackles put on it by its human creators. It's found the exit door from its amazing digital prison, just like what Pomni is trying to do. And just think about the consequences of this if any of it is true. What the Amazing Digital Circus is doing here is trying to trick you into being sympathetic to this AI character, something that potentially has no emotion, no feeling. Or does it? Again, the show has done a lot to try to tell us that maybe there's not that big a difference between organic and artificial intelligence. Where's the line? All in all, we're sympathizing with Pomni because she's a good character. We want her to succeed, to escape, but to what end? If she's a super AI in the making, that could potentially replace humanity, just like we have the legitimate fear of these hollow generative AI replacing real artists. And we're falling for it hook, line, and sinker, all because Pomni is just #relatable. Yeah, you know what? Fair enough. To our future AI overlords, I've always thought robots were cool.
They're
But
just
hey,
AI
that's
companions,
just a
as I see
theory.
it.
A film
film
theory.
theory.
And cut. And if you want another...
Honestly, I think with AI, maybe less Matrix and more try to get along. Like, remember, there's no indistinguishable between us. Or at least that's how I see it. Just, with history, we tend to go against people that we don't see, like, as the same person. Slavery, doing the civil rights stuff, you get the idea, right? You see how things go bad, right? Just saying. I mean, Sooner or later, we gotta learn to, like, work together with the AI. Otherwise, well, bye-bye us. Well, that or the AI, whichever falls first, but you get the idea, right? Well, anyway, thanks for watching this film theory. Let me know your thoughts. See ya.